Hi, welcome everybody. This is Exchange Goddess for another episode of the Water Cooler. And I'm here with my friends today, this wonderful Friday afternoon or morning or evening, wherever you're at. You guys want to start with intros and then we'll go straight to our topic of PC builds today. John, why don't you go and introduce yourself?
I'm John Flores, Buckeye Guy JFlow on Twitter. I work at Microsoft and I'm a content developer, work on Active Directory.
Yeah.
Mike, looks like you're the person next to John.
All righty. Name's Mike Wilson, my IT muscle on Twitter, and currently work for NetApp, but I've worked for Dell, worked for EMC, and generally at this point, what I do is I teach people how to better sell products. But I've done tech support and L3 support and all the way down to regular phone support. So a little bit of everything.
And Ben.
Hey, everybody. My name is Ben Rudolph. Ben the PC Guy on Twitter, which is kind of why I'm here, I think, today. But I currently run a group called Microsoft News Lab. So we're the R&D arm for kind of Edge, Bing, Microsoft News, and we're thinking about how we can use AI in the Microsoft stack to ensure a healthy, free, well-funded press.
And then Teresa's here.
Yeah, I made it. That's
awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
I think everybody knows Teresa. She's my co-host on the current status. Today's our water cooler. And we're going to talk about PC builds. Right now, with the pandemic and everything going on, people are at home. PC builds seem to be really, really hot to the point that the supply chain is zilch. And in fact, I just got done building my streaming PC and I was sort of forced into a lot of upgrades. And with the help of lots of my friends, I was able to source some of these products as well. And there's some people here that are thinking about building PCs or upgrading. And Mike, I consider an expert in finding parts. He seems to know where everything is at. So let's just chat about it. First, I want to ask Ben, the PC Guy, is this because you built a lot of PCs?
So this actually, this is one of those things that it's just a moniker that stuck with me for a long time. This is actually my 12-year anniversary at Microsoft this week. And when I started in 2008, we thought it would be this really interesting idea to start a blog for Windows because it was 2008. And that was like the peak of communications technology.
You can almost hear him. He's fading in and out.
No, you lose me?
Yeah. Nope, I got you.
Yeah, we got you.
All right. So we started this blog.
It was a question for me. I missed it. If so,
no, that one's for me.
Ben, the PC Guy.
Okay.
So back in 2008, I was doing a lot of actually PC reviews and recommendations for the Windows blog and for the Windows group. So it's just kind of a moniker that stuck with me, and I think that's I do build my own. I haven't built one in a while, but I've been super, super deep in the OEM ecosystem for as long as I've been here.
Ben, I started following you on Twitter back in the Windows Phone days.
Yeah.
I've been a big fan for a long time, so it's nice to get to actually meet you.
That was a heck of a product, and I'm sorry that it's not with us anymore. It makes me sad every time I use my Android phone. I mean, I like what we've done with the app ecosystem for it, but it's I really miss my live tiles, and I really miss my hardware. I know.
Okay, so
I was having a conversation with my neighbors last night about home assistant, smart home stuff, lighting, and assistants, and Cortana came up and Windows Phone came up, and
Windows Phone.
Yeah.
Sorry, right. I gotta bust on Windows Phone. But you mentioned lights. So with lights, apparently, I haven't built a PC in 10 years. So going through this processor with the parts picker and everything, I'm like, wow, lights seem to be a really, really big deal right now. The prettier the lights or the flashier. And maybe that's just the kids, but Mike, how do you feel about lights? Because I know I sent you some pictures of my lights showing up on my machine. You're like, oh, and I'm like, at first I didn't really care, but now I'm like, I think I want more lights.
I love lights.
RGB everything.
I love lights,
Yeah,
and I'm partial to
none of
blue.
the PCs I've built have had lights.
So
Maybe that's
talk
like
about your background right now.
A boomer, right? I'm a boomer. I didn't realize there was lights. Now I look down, like, oh, there's rainbows.
Yeah,
So my current PC that I've got, I've done a decent amount of building on, but it is an Alienware. So, but it does have blue lights on it. I've got a Razer mouse that has multicolor RGB on it. My keyboard has my mouse pad has a line that goes around it that lights up.
Oh,
I'm very much a light person.
does that distract?
That's awesome.
Yeah, does that distract from gaming at all? I'm just curious. I know it distracts me. Sometimes I look down. I'm like, wow, that's really pretty. Look at the light.
I haven't gamed probably
Shiny
in about
things.
2 months, so I can't say much. So I haven't had time. But when I did, it didn't seem to. I mean, everything else in the room was dark usually, so it didn't seem to distract too much to me.
And also another thing I found was the hydro coolers. That's like like what's the deal with that? Like back in the day, I'm like, we would have never thought to to cool your CPU with water. But now I'm like, what's this? When I think you're the one that mentioned it, Mike, about the hydro coolers. So I started doing research, and I'm like, oh wow, it's really cool shit.
So I remember back in the original days when they started doing refrigerant cases on the bottom, and it added like another 6 inches to the bottom, and it would actually cool your CPU down to about 40 below zero before it actually would turn it on. Then Tom's Hardware came out with a case that they actually filled up with vegetable oil, I think it was.
Yeah.
Vegetable or mineral oil, one of the two. And just that was it. That was how the whole thing was cooled, which was really cool. And then of course there's the custom loops, which are really awesome but really expensive. And so kind of a happy medium between those two is the all-in-one coolers. Corsair has them, Gigabyte has them. You can get RGB lights on them. And they're not terribly expensive considering. I mean, especially when you look at the custom loop ones. I mean, you can the one I've got in my son's gaming desktop right now, I think it cost me like $60. And they've proven it. If you go on like Linus Tech Tips and that, they've proven that it doesn't really do a tremendous amount better than like a good Noctua fan, but it is prettier, and a lot of times it's quieter.
Oh, I was gonna ask
because think about, I mean, you don't have to push as much air as fast over a radiator as you do over a regular cooling heatsink,
Right.
because you have more surface area to cover with it. So like I have one in my current case. It's just a single fan, but I can barely hear the fans on my machine even at load. It makes it so much quieter. I remember the last machine I built, it would scream when it'd get up to performance. Just all those fans would spin up, and it's like a little jet engine sitting over here.
It's noisy.
Maybe I'm not like hitting my system hard enough because it's very quiet, and I don't have the all-in-one in it yet. It's just kind of purring. And probably I got one of the mesh cases because I'm thinking, okay, having mesh will help alleviate some of the heat that's being spun up inside. I mean, possibly, or maybe I'm just not overclocking it.
Yeah, it's to install Crisis and see what happens, and then it's still the
And then you don't know.
for egregious CPU and GPU usage.
Yeah, Crisis is still able to bring basically any system to its knees.
No,
It's crazy.
Really? I should
Yeah.
try that then. I should
It
try
started out
that.
as a joke, like can it play Crisis, but then it became like the unofficial benchmark for what PC was
I haven't
good.
played Crisis in a long time.
It's still.
I did buy it a long time ago.
It's
Maybe I should try it this weekend because I've just been hitting Fortnite.
they're doing
Most of the stuff I do now is like Fallout 4, Subnautica, and The Witcher. Seems to stretch. In my Alienware, it actually has water cooling from the factory from Dell, and it's got a 1080 Ti in it, and I have fun trying to completely stretch that out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm finding this all very educational because, like Pumala, the last time I built one of my PCs at home was like 10 years ago, where I pieced it together. So a lot has changed.
It is, and I think I'm showing my age, or boomer. Just looking at the parts list, right? Going through the PC parts list website that wasn't there 10 years ago. Like, that's so freaking awesome. Like, I can just go and start picking out parts, and there's a database that pulls out information from all these major resellers, and like, holy shit, like this would have been awesome back in 2004. And if there was, I didn't know about it back then. But
oh yeah, it was all for yourself back then. Like, you just had to figure it out.
So we did have Price Watch back then, though, which was basically our equivalent to that. But you actually had to go through it yourself and pick out your parts, and
but
quite as intuitive.
Yeah. Now it's like it just does it for you. I mean, back then there was so much manual work that I actually hated. I hate to say this, but I actually hated building my own stuff because of the manual portion. You'd have to go and try to source everything. I can only imagine if we were back 10 years ago and we had a pandemic. Like, I would be like, screw this, I'm just gonna order something, because it took a lot of work. There is nothing out there. I mean, John, you texted me the other night, we're like, what motherboard you go with, because I can't seem to find anything. I'm like, I went through 3 motherboards, one failed, and then the next one I had to force an upgrade because all the other ones were all shit and were none in stock. I have to wait till like the middle of July.
I've thrown so I just keep kind of like watching to see if I can find like a good set of parts, and do I find what I want, and everything. So NZXT is where I started, because I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just have somebody build one for me. And their site, even they're out of parts. Like, they're down to nothing at this point. So then I was like, all right, I'm just going to build one of my own on Newegg. And it's like, I've put 3 or 4 different motherboards in, and they go out of stock like at the drop of a hat. So I'm like, do I want to go forward? I'll just wait. And I'm hearing rumors of the new Ryzen refresh coming in the next month or 2. There's new GPUs coming in September. So I'm like, I'm not going to buy a new GPU. I've got a 1070 that's fine for right now.
Yeah. And
GPU prices will probably drop. Last night I heard Samsung's 980 SSDs are coming out in a month. And so I know they're like the top of the heap for SSDs. So it's like, do I just wait like another month or 2 and all these other components will come out? Maybe that'll free up the supply chain a little bit.
But you're going to get yourself into a like...
Yeah, that 980 looks tempting, but I bet it's going to cost a mint when it first comes out.
Yeah.
Just like the 970s did.
I always think, I'm like, you get yourself...
I am curious as to what specs are going to be behind it and what's actually rolling with it and everything. So I have one of my friends works at AMD, and so I get some of the information, stuff that's coming out. Try to plan around it a little bit. It's like, well, if that's coming out at that point, maybe I'll wait for now. So.
Good.
So what's causing the shortage? Is this the at home? Like, is this because everyone's home and they're building out PCs now? Is this like the webcams and the disinfecting wipes we're dealing with?
I say it's everything, right, Ben? It seems like, I think even our hardware products, I think they were initial supply chain.
Nobody had anticipated this was going to happen, right? Where all of a sudden there were going to be a couple 100 million people who needed webcams and studio microphones, right? And I know, Mike, I know you can't hear me, which is why we keep talking over top of each other. We'll get that figured out. But like, I think, John, you make a really interesting point about like, what's the actuation point when you decide to pull the trigger on buying new hardware? Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's like, you're never going to, if you're a PC builder, you're never going to be state of the art. Because by the time you get things assembled, there's going to be something new out. So I've taken a slightly different approach. Or like, I'm just trying to get something that I know is going to keep me whole and keep me happy for the next 18 to 24 months. And I started making, in at least at work, where I've kind of incrementally upgraded. Just making sure I've got a case that is expansive enough that gives me enough bays to gradually swap things out. My last workstation was this like little Dell, and it had a Xenon processor in it. It was very good, but like there was no actual space for me to expand. So I kind of ripped everything out and put it into a chassis that was like a full-size tower that gave me bays for extra graphics cards and more SSDs and things like that. Because like I do the same thing with my phones, right? Where I'm like, oh, I don't want to buy the Note 10 Plus because I know there's going to be an S20 coming in May, and then I don't want to buy the next the S20 in May because I know the Note 20 Plus is going to be coming in November, and I've just kind of said screw it. And now I just when I hit that point, I just pull the trigger.
So is it like stop keeping up with the Joneses? Is that what you're trying to say? Like
it's like unless you're doing software where you've got like an M365 type subscription where things just automatically appear with no drag for me as a user. Hardware is still a physical object, and if I want to upgrade my graphics card, as easy as NVIDIA and AMD have made it to kind of upgrade, it's still a pain in the ass. You got to open up the case, you got to take it out, you got to reconnect everything, you got to make sure all the drivers are installed. There's a bunch of weird Windows stuff that then you got to do to make things work, and like the incremental lift that I get from X to X.1 is more for pride. It's like for nerd pride. It's for the people on this call. Less than the actual like incremental lift.
Yeah, I like that too.
Performance.
And I'm not trying. I'm not trying to be like keep up with the Joneses and buy the latest and greatest. But I don't want to spend money today on something and buy something like a motherboard that is going to be the key to my expandability in the future.
Yeah, sure.
Where like it only has one M.2 PCI Express slot, and I'm like, there's so many motherboards that are out there that have multiple slots, but they're all out of stock. So it's like, all right, I'm just going to hold off on some of that kind of stuff. And knowing that the new Ryzen chips here, well, at least hearing the rumors of them coming, at least the refresh, it's like, so if I'm going to wait on a motherboard, I might as well wait on a proc for a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, the graphics card, we're going to have this huge fight at the end of the year over graphics between AMD and NVIDIA, and even Intel's supposedly throwing their hat in the ring with their graphics side of the house. Not that I really think that they're going to be.
I think we can all agree NVIDIA is the graphics champion. I mean,
I used to be diehard.
It's interesting to look at the benchmarks.
AMD's good, right? But I think from a gaming streaming perspective,
Yeah, I like NVIDIA cards. I've always had better luck with them. Who's actually the incrementally fastest kind of depends on generation. I can't believe I'm saying this, but like I like NVIDIA drivers better. Like I finally,
I
would agree on that.
One.
Yeah, it's just like, which is not a high bar, but it's just. I have less incremental hardware issues than I've had NVIDIA-based systems versus AMD-based systems.
Yeah.
So in my son's machine, we got a 590 Fat Boy, and it's actually been pretty dang stable, and he games on that thing probably a good 18 hours a day, especially right now when he's stuck at home. So
what else does he do?
How old is he?
Yeah, that's 24 hours a day.
So he's 16 years old.
Oh yeah.
And he does his schoolwork on it, and then as soon as his schoolwork is done, it's straight over to the games and Discord.
Sure.
So that's what he does, and he does a very wide array of games. There's still a few games that I can kick his butt on, which I enjoy, like Age of Empires and that stuff on Rainbow Six and everything. And he's the one that holds the whole team, and that I feel bad about that, but. But
you don't seem like you're terribly broken up about that.
To get back to my point, the 590, I picked it up for $200. And for the price, for performance and the stability and everything, it's been spot on. Another thing about the motherboards you were talking about before, John, the one thing that I really dig about AMD versus Intel right now is the fact that they have basically promised to me that they will last for about 3 or 4 generations using the same chipset. Which, Intel, hey, we're going to have basically the same chip between 8th and 9th generation, but we're going to change the pin layout on it, even though it's the same pin, the same number of pins and the same chipset, basically. But we're going to make it so that you have to buy a new system.
Well, and then the 10th generation procs don't support PCI Express 4.
Right.
And they're like, well, the 11th generation ones should. And your board your board already supports PCI Express 4, so just when you drop in that new chip, as long as it has the same pin count and same pin layout, you'll be fine. So Intel to me, I'm kind of like, really, Intel? Come on.
I'm just excited so I got the X570 board because I wanted the PCIe 4 generation.
Yep.
Mike talked me into it, but I wanted faster storage. So I actually have Gen 4 and Gen 3 NVMe drive, and that's all I'm using. Yep. I'm not using any else. Like my cold storage is in the cloud, and everything else is going to be local. It's hot. It's going to be fast. Because that's the whole, if it's on my PC, I want it quick, flying. Like, I don't have to think about it. And if it's going to be considered cold stuff I'm archiving, I don't even want it here. Like, it could be a USB drive. It could be in the cloud. It could be where I don't want to deal with it. It's one less piece of hardware I have to source because I couldn't, again, trying to find parts. We go back to that. Like, the sourcing is just ridiculous for stuff. I'm surprised we're even like Apple's making stuff. I'm surprised we even are getting parts because it seems like China is just starting to ramp up production again. And who knows if we have a second wave? I mean, all that could just be washed out. And no one's building PCs then.
I've got a Drobo sitting on my desk for cold store, and then off to the cloud for long-term cold store.
The amount of information that I now keep on my PC is almost zero. And obviously I'm not a coder like some of the people on here, but like my desktop at work has a 1 terabyte Samsung 950 Pro in it, which is plenty fast. Yeah. And then I've got a 4 terabyte, just like caviar black, spinner that I was like, that's where I'll keep everything. And I think I have like 0 bytes of data on there. It's just like there because it makes me feel better to know that there's like a bunch of storage in my desktop, but I don't actually use it. It's just like it's like my magnetic security blanket for lack of a better term.
So I can't say the same thing. I've got a huge amount of storage in my desktop, and then I've also got a home lab where I'm sitting with close to 30 terabyte, half of which is about SSD.
Nice.
And so I've got a QNAP, a Synology, and then I actually just created a virtual Synology using it's called Exponology. It's actually the same code as Synology, and I'm actually feeding through 8 SSDs into it, and I'm getting it's like about 140,000 IOPS to it. So it's insane.
Hashtag nerd pride. Like that goes to Mike. Nerd pride.
Yeah. You win, Mike.
The only reason I have the Drobo is because I do photography also. And so I have an A7R4 from Sony, and that has these massive raw files. And I just drop all those off to the Drobo after I'm done editing.
Yeah.
So you decided to...
I have more on-site storage for my photographers. I'm a photographer as well. So but I've got a local storage for my home PC. But at work, I mean, for those of us, we're all like, for those of us who are Microsoft, we're kind of blessed to have effectively infinite access to cloud storage.
For the most part.
For the most part,
NetApp.
Hey, we partner with NetApp. Okay,
yes.
We got NetApp file shares, which I actually really love. So I am gonna do a little shout out to that because I was a previous NetApp storage admin in one of my lives. So file shares, we still use them.
Cloud volumes. NetApp has cloud volumes inside of Azure, so you actually resell them through there.
And I'm not sure if I'm having some latency. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
It might just be having.
So are you are you on your satellite or are you in the office?
I'm on my satellite right now at my makeshift home office, not at my actual office. And we were I wanted to try out the satellite because I usually do have to make like a little bit of a drive, like a 7-minute drive to go get what I would consider better Wi-Fi. But this is kind of an upgraded satellite, so we wanted to test it. I did want to add one thing to this whole conversation. So when you were talking about putting stuff in the cloud, I actually think that's part of why I haven't built a PC. So unfortunately, I'm like not a gamer. So I don't fit in with that element. And so the cost of building a PC actually kind of got expensive compared to just buying something that had, basic enough compute to be able to manage some of the work that I was doing. I think Camtasia is the most intensive application I use, which compared to the games is really not anything. It's more memory intensive. So again, I'm still finding this all educational, but it actually, just kind of validates and explains why I don't build anything.
Well, I agree with you. The only reason I built this is because I needed a good streaming system because my Surface Book, my Surface Pro, my MacBook weren't gonna. It didn't cut it, and it took a lot of soul searching for me to go, God damn it, like I gotta do this. And thank you to my teammate Sarah Aline. She's actually the one that inspired me to build this PC because she did this whole blog series. She went through and upgraded her PC, and I'm like, you know what? Sarah did this. I can do this.
Oh yeah.
And I did it, and I love it. And it was kind of I don't know. It was a neat experience to go through again now in 2020 rather than 2004 and 2005. But I'm right with you. Buy a PC because everything I need is, it's cloud-based. It's subscription-based. I'm not a gamer other than Fortnite, the occasional Minecraft. My son's been eyeing this up. He is heavy into Halo, and all the other games everybody else plays. But I'm just kind of like, and if you don't really need all that intensive resources, there's really no reason to build because it can be expensive. I don't say it is expensive. It can be because you get caught up in the lights. Like seriously, the freaking lights.
Well, there are two options too, right?
I can see that.
There's the monetary cost, and then there's the time investment cost.
Oh my God, the time! Yeah. Tell me about free motherboards.
When I was in college and I was building systems, I didn't have a whole lot of money, but I had a lot of time. Yeah. Now I'm blessed where I have a little bit more money, but I got a lot less time because I said I got 7 kids sitting outside of this door. So it's like it's a lot easier for me to just like use my knowledge and then have somebody else do the work, and then have them build it for. And there are great options out there at a huge range. Like 20 years ago, you wanted a great box, you had to build it yourself. Now, there's Main Gear, there's Origin, there's Alienware, there's Falcon, there are a gazillion places that build really nice systems, and they're built by pros. Which is great.
You can have your kids build your boxes now, Ben, because
we're getting there. So right now, my kids mostly game on console. Like we're an Xbox family, obviously. But my son is like he's me. Like he fixed our toaster. Like it broke, and I let him play with it. We plugged it in, thing works. Now we have 2 toasters. It's great. He's 9. He's at that spot now where like I want him to build a PC, so he has the understanding of the electronics, how the circuitry works, what disks are, how GPUs work, like actually just go through the process where we're not going to spend a lot of money on it and we'll probably buy a lot of secondhand parts, but I want him to know how to do it so he can either do it himself or if he buys one and it breaks, he knows how to fix it. Like I think that'll be a family project for my older ones for sure.
Well, Mike's great at sourcing parts. So if you need parts or sourcing, reach out to Mike because he's awesome. I went to him like, hey, Mike, I need a power supply. Can you help me find one? Hey, I think I need another motherboard because this one's shot. And he's like, look here, look there.
Mike says he works for NetApp, but in reality, he's got a whole. It's like he's the guy.
He's a side hustle. Right?
I can be like, yeah, I know a guy.
That's good to. It's good to know though, because so Pumala, the reason you did the streaming system is actually probably the same reason why I might go there, right? Because we've talked about that. I may end up doing the same thing because we're still doing the same, like it would be for the podcast that we're doing and some of the other work. And so now I know who to reach out to. In addition to you, Pamela, I can tap a few different shoulders here.
I'm telling you, Mike is amazing when it comes to sourcing parts or trying to find. He's like, oh, check this place out. I'm like, I don't have a local one. It's like 2 hours. Where he's like, if you drive, you get a discount. I'm like, oh my God, how do you know this stuff?
It probably speaks to my my sad lack of a life, that part of what I find fun is I actually check all these sites every day.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's just kind of cathartic for me. So I go through, it's like, I've got a number of different hobbies, of which photography is one as well. I used to do wedding photography, model photography, all that sort of stuff. So that's part of my storage to go along with the rest of y'all. But yeah, just going through all these different pieces, these different things. It's like, look at this. And then it's, a lesson in self-control, being able to keep from, well, I don't need this, but it's a really good deal.
Yeah.
My team built a Power BI dashboard that sucks in retail prices for household goods on a daily basis and does price comparison in the city. We can give you the shelf for that one if you want to start. If you want to get fancy.
That doesn't
you should do that. Oh, do a power.
Yeah, you basically set the HTML as a data source, and then it just updates on a daily basis. We built it with a reporter from Recode to do a story about Amazon versus Walmart versus Target and their price wars. And you could build a virtual shopping cart by city, but the prices update every day. So you can actually figure out like where milk and peanut butter is cheapest in Dallas on this article from like 2018. It still works.
There you go, Mike. We should make that a project.
Have you guys ever heard of a website called labgopher.com?
Nope.
No.
Okay, so if you're in the home labs.
Labgopher.com.
Labgopher.com, yes.
Wow.
Geo.
Oh, that's cool.
Look at that.
LABGOPH.
This is
putting that in our.
This is going to get expensive.
Yeah. No, it's GOPHER.
Oh.
No Y.
GO.
It's in the private chat.
Oh, I'm gonna. Okay, that makes life so much. Thank you.
Copy and paste.
Yes, copy and paste. That's how I live.
So this is all kind of centered around servers, but you can buy like regular data center servers and everything, and this will go out to eBay and find all the best prices on whichever specs you're looking for.
Ooh.
And you can filter them out via processors, via memory, all that sort of stuff. And yeah. So
dangerous. It is dangerous.
Yeah. But I've gotten things like Dell 620s with V2 processors, 210 core V2 processors, and 64 gig of RAM. Picked it up for $200.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cheaper than my shoes.
Was it stolen?
It's decommissioned.
Serial number scratched off?
Maybe you don't need to ask that question. You got it for $200. That's all that matters.
There's no serial number. We don't need to know. Right?
It's been filed off the edge.
I've got 5 different data center servers right now, and a 10 gig data center switch, Arista. That I probably spent a total of maybe $1,500 on my home lab.
You should have been in our home lab conversation last night.
I know. We just had this conversation because I have a $3,000 paperweight in my basement right now because I've just totally moved to cloud because the expense for the benefit wasn't there for me.
Don't tell Mike.
He
might source.
Now I know how to discount shop. I'm sure if he lets the his camera to the side, I'm convinced he's got a shelf of things he's selling.
He probably is. He's probably sourcing out the parts of your server.
Oh,
funny you say that because I did go ahead and just sell one of my servers to Joe Hughes a couple weeks ago. So,
oh, that Joe guy, Joe. If you watch this, yeah, I'm watching you, buddy. Because every time I'm around him, he spills water on my laptop, and it's this ongoing joke we have with each other. Like, don't be around that guy.
The ThinkPad, the new ThinkPads have drainage where you can actually pour a glass of water on their keyboards and they'll drain out the bottom.
I will.
That was my old work laptop at one of my last jobs.
They're hard to
Those
beat.
things were amazing.
I'm a big fan. What I'm using right now is I've got a Lenovo X1 Extreme, the 15-inch carbon, which is
you
it runs loud. You talk about like sounding like a jet engine when you turn it on. You're doing video conferencing, and it gets about 3 hours of battery life. But it's a docked machine in my remote office here. It's great.
Your office. We see the bed behind you.
Yeah, it's not much of an office. We're out in Chelan. We have a little place out in Chelan, Washington, which is kind of out in the middle of the state. So my normal desktop setup is,
it's okay. We're just
more professional than inviting you all to my bedroom, which is super weird and awkward. But
it's okay. It's okay. This is
Watercooler Topic.
This is the world we live in now. So I will confirm the Surface Book 2 has survived a glass of wine.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
What kind of wine? Was it red wine?
It was white. It was a Pinot Grigio. It was in the summer, so I'm thinking, like it went. Shh, and I was like, oh, and the power adapter did not survive though. I did need a new one, but the laptop itself. I mean, it's been 2 years. There's nothing. Actually, it survived water and wine.
Having been a
so
desktop
that's
guy
not
before,
a sticky wine. So your keys are okay. So that's not a sticky wine.
Yeah.
And maybe the water rinsed it.
That could have been it because the water was afterwards. But I haven't tried beer yet. I'm not
red
sure
wine
if I want to.
and green tea will kill a laptop like instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Having been a desktop guy, those are the two things that every time. Oh, I just spilled some red wine in it. It's dead.
Done.
I spilled green tea on it. It's done.
That's
for some reason it oxidizes like instantly, and it's bad.
Well,
it's one of the reasons that I like Lenovo's, because you can strip those things down to the boards with one screwdriver and then replace all the parts. And
yep.
You do that on I love my Surface laptop, but if you do that on a Surface laptop, you're toast.
It's done.
I will say that the Surface Pros are pretty resilient when it comes to bouncing them off of tile floors, though.
They sure are.
Really? I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't tried that with mine yet.
It wasn't.
Tried that.
Remember the video that Steven Sinofsky did back when Surface RT came out, where he was riding it around like a skateboard?
I have not seen it. I actually have 3 Surface RTs, and I have the original Surface Pro. Remember back in Tech Ed 2014? Was it 2014? It was one of NOLA. When Microsoft at the time gave that super discount.
Yeah, that's where I got mine.
So they gave one away too.
It was. I think that was it Mac that got Surfaces, or they got
Mac
the Dell?
away those Dell. They gave away the Dell. That's interesting. I was in New Orleans.
What was that? Was it the Venue 7? The Venue Pro 7, I think it
was.
It looked like their Dell Venue Pro Windows phone that they like pumped air into with a bicycle pump, and it was like a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
I had 90% certain I have one of those in my garage somewhere.
It lived a very long time.
Those Dell Tap. I know someone that still has that's using it for recipes.
What made me laugh?
Won and gave it to one of my coworkers for his kid.
I have a bunch of Windows RT like first gen Surfaces as well, and my son found one, so we plugged it in because it had the charger, it was all bundled together, and he turned it on, and it pushed an update. Like there's a guy somewhere like still updating Windows RT, and it was amazing. It was like, oh,
we're in the basement of campus, right?
It must be a punishment for something.
Yeah, exactly. Like
building 36. There's a dude down there that he didn't get the
John,
memo.
I got an exciting opportunity for your next career step.
or he didn't get the memo. Like, dude, you don't need to push the updates anymore.
I believe you have my stapler.
Presumably, there's like some company or some agency somewhere using it. And we were obligated. We have a support contract with, but it was amazing to me. Like I haven't turned the thing on in like 6 years, and it wasn't like the latest security patch was from like 2017. Like it was like the March security update. It was
what's nice about those things is one, they were pretty durable.
Yeah,
but they also their battery life was insane.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, they lasted a good 15 hours on their battery life.
Absolutely.
There's no Android device out there that comes close.
Well, we've got the Surface Duo coming, which is our Android phone-ish dual screen. I don't know what we call it, but I'm in love.
Yeah.
I am. I've had a sneak peek in terms of looking at it from the developer side, and I actually may do a water cooler with one of the PMs on there, just so that everyone can, maybe we can talk about it a little bit. But it is a beautiful product. Ben, have you seen the Duo?
I have not played with the Duo in person, largely because I was supposed to get some hands-on time with them, and then COVID hit, so I haven't been allowed out of my house in 3 months.
I think a lot of us have felt that, where it's like, but the Duo, it's not a Windows device, right? It's Android, and it's pretty. It's sleek. It's got 2 screens. It's Android based, but it's like Windows. Right?
Yeah.
How close is it to the Courier demo that they had a while ago that mysteriously showed up on YouTube? Did anyone see that?
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean that.
Not
quite. Not quite. That'll be a different water cooler. We'll talk about it. Or
subject for Ben.
Yeah.
Remember, you got 3 Microsoft employees here. We're not biased, but
I can say I have been in the building where a lot of the Duo stuff happens. I had to go over and pick up some gear from somebody, and there's like these big, huge signs on the doors, and it's like, "Do not come in here with a camera. Do not come in here with anything. Do not look at anything. Nothing that you see here is real." And it's like,
burn your eyes.
Right.
Oh, it's scary just to walk by the doors.
But it's
I was at the one. Well, I shouldn't even say where it was. I was at one of the facilities once too, because it's still top secret, right?
Yeah.
And it was very, very discreet. Like I had to sign a thing, and I had to give away my license when I arrived, and like the building was like you can't drive anything through it. Like a semi could hit it, and the thing wouldn't, be destroyed. Like it is so interesting.
Well, it's like the only building on campus that you have to badge to get in the front door, even just to get to the lobby area. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like Apple, right? The Apple campus. Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine the stuff that goes on there. I mean, so this goes back to our PC builds, right? We're building PCs because we want all these like badass systems, but there's so much cool tech out there that's being built, that's being mass produced. Our iPhones, the new Duo that's going to be coming out. I have no idea when now, but it's going to be coming out, and Samsung's constantly releasing devices and like all this really, really cool stuff. And it's like, do I really want to take the time and effort and source these parts and build myself?
If you're an enthusiast, right. It's like brewing your own beer. I mean, I can go down to the grocery store and I can get I can get a half rack of Bud Light for what, $9, $12, or I can spend a bunch of money and time buying the equipment and brew my own beer because it's something that I want to go, I want to go do. And it's like, for me right now, like I haven't built a system in a long time because it hasn't been something I wanted to put the time into. With my oldest two, my oldest is 11 and my son is about to turn 10 in 2 weeks. Now we're at the spot where we're ready to go do that as a family, right? So it's like it becomes an enthusiast thing that I want to go do. But I mean, I got to tell you, even as like I've been the PC guy, right? Like I use this for almost everything, right? I mean, it's a Note 10 Plus. It has 12 gigs of RAM, and I have a terabyte and half of storage on it. Why? I don't know, because I could. Like that felt like something fun to go do. And it runs, I can get about 90% of the way through a workday on it if I really needed to.
My phone. I mean, soon my phone will. I mean, it's my life now, but in a few weeks, it is literally gonna be my life. Like, if you've been following me on Twitter, I've been looking at a Tesla, and Tesla. There's no real car key, right? You get like a backup like card thingy-majiggy, but you use your phone. Like that's pretty cool. I'm like, wow. So my life. Yeah. This little like device thing I stick in my pocket, which people, if you're making dresses and pants for women, please add more pockets that are bigger than like this. Make them big enough you can actually
I
stick
know.
them inside. Yeah.
We
guys
actually do
help
like
out with
pockets.
that,
Kelly.
advocate for pockets for women. That would be awesome.
There was an article I read. It was in Esquire that was talking about like the return of cargo shorts for men because phones have gotten so big. And like they're like, cargo shorts are back too. That if I just didn't change my style for 25 years, I would be once again back at the forefront of men's fashion.
Cargo pants.
Right.
I'm wearing them right now.
They're great.
There's so many.
I got no problem with
Mike's
them.
like, they're still in style.
You're like,
What
wait, hold on,
happened?
wait, it's in this pocket. Wait, I wear dresses with pockets, and the other day I was wearing a muumuu. Yes, I wore a muumuu because it was comfortable. It was 90 degrees, and it had pockets in them. And I stuffed the pockets. And I went to Target, and it just was like, my daughter looked at me. She's like, "Mom, this is not working, Mother." I'm like, "No, but look." And I just started pulling stuff out. My wallet, my phone, my keys. I had hand sanitizer. I had the candy bar in there. I think even crackers on the other pocket. Like, I'm like,
Did you have your emergency Whopper in there?
yeah. No emergency Whopper. See, that's where I need a bigger pocket. I didn't want to carry a purse because I didn't want to like have to sanitize my fine leather. I'm like,
There's always fanny packs.
Yeah, or like a burger satchel that you could wear.
a burger. You know what? If you can
They
create
have a pizza slice satchel too.
Yeah, well, it's like that's what that slit pocket in the front
Yeah.
is. We put the
design a really nice satchel, leather satchel that can hold a pizza and a Whopper.
European man bag. Yeah.
And that can handle sanitizer, right? Disinfectant.
Yep, hand sanitizer, and then a place for your mask too that you can take off and latch on to, maybe like a D clip or something. I do that.
It facilitates faster Burger King consumption. I'm in favor of.
So I get the family bundle. Okay?
Like one of those like helmets that you put beer in, but like for Whopper. Forget about PCs.
Burgers. So
ID.
6 burgers.
Burger
I get 3 Whoppers and 3 cheeseburgers and 3 French fries. I always get the family bundle, and it's like my backup for at least 2 days. Because I wake up like at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, and I'm hungry. I'm like, oh, there's a Whopper.
Common sense says you have an emergency reserve of cheeseburgers. That I like.
Emergency backup
Why wouldn't you?
Whopper. I've had emergency backup pad thai just in case somebody gets a craving for pad thai. But usually the cheeseburgers or Whoppers are my backup. I've got at least 3 different flavors of M&Ms on my desk just in case I like flip out and I'm like, oh my god, I need chocolate. There's 4 bottles of wine here just in case it's been a stressful day at work. Just in case. And Ben, John, we work at Microsoft, so you know.
Yeah.
No, it's I do.
And fudge brown. Oh my god, you guys see this flavor? Fudge brownie M&Ms. I've been like totally like telling everybody about this.
Oh my goodness, that sounds really good.
Yeah,
Is it better than the hazelnut ones?
Now, does that
Yeah,
make
the
it
hazelnut ones.
out there?
What was that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there we go. I couldn't know you got the bar. Nice.
Yeah. On top of, hold on.
Oh yeah, he's got that's because you work at Microsoft.
Oh, this is at home. This is at home.
So some days can be stressful.
There.
No, oh look at that.
Let it out.
All right, I'm a little jealous.
He's got a nice setup
Then you
there.
look like you're all set up to go to bed with your stressful day. You can just climb into bed.
Yeah, it's I thought about it. I was like, this I've got a Logitech Brio up here, so it's got a really
Ooh.
I bought it.
Nice is that?
I'm sorry?
How nice is that? Because I was jonesing for one right before the COVID happened, and then they went from $150 up to $500.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had one at work and I had one at home. So I had them before the crisis hit.
Are you
But
hoarding
I
them?
got them for 2 reasons. Like one is it does color correction, like does temperature correction in real time. So it's like, even though I've got kind of a warmer light, you don't kind of look quite so orangey. The video quality is amazing. My favorite thing though is it's a Windows Hello camera. So if you've got a Hello table machine, you can plug it into the desktop and just sit down and it just goes. Because Windows Hello has now made me lazy to the point where like I resent typing in my 6-digit PIN. Like this is like the worst, most laborious thing in the world. Like if my PC doesn't just log me in, I'm even my like Lenovo, which has a fingerprint reader, I'm like, this is the worst. I gotta touch the thing.
Oh my gosh, you've gotten to that point
I have
where
the Brio too. I have the Brio also, but I hooked up my real camera for this for today.
Nice. Yeah,
through the supply chain, I don't have a Brio, and I don't think I'll get one until September, according to the Dell website.
My DSLR, I've got a Canon 5D Mark III, so like I don't have anywhere to like. Now that Canon has their software, you can use as a webcam, but like I don't think my monitor could support it because it's like a 9-pound thing. You know what I mean? It's like I don't want to. Yeah, it's big. It's
I still need a tripod for this. I'm gonna go upstairs and steal it from my son one of these days.
Right. And then I've got a Yeti Blue. Just
nice.
Oh, who doesn't? I love the Yetis.
That's what I got.
I
get.
Mine's the AT 2020. I actually love it.
Yeah, I love my Yeti too.
Yeah,
I have a Yeti somewhere around here. I have a Yeti and a Shure.
The one thing that drives me crazy about the cable is it's mini USB.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I gotta tell you a story about that.
It's like I was looking for a longer cable, and I like looked through my box, and I was like, of course, like I finally got rid of all my mini USB cables because why would anything still use mini USB? And then
you don't have a box of cables somewhere? We've all got boxes.
But that's the thing. So I had the box of cables, and I did like this purge. Right, I had like the big Tupperware in the garage. I had everything in toilet paper rolls. So everything was like nice and tidy. And I was going through all these like all the weird proprietary chargers for like the old tablets and stuff like that. And I got rid of so much stuff. And then of course I needed one. And now I'm never getting rid of anything ever again.
So
I purged down my cable.
The mini USB. So I'm using my Leapfrog. Does anybody remember the Leapfrogs? Leapfrog uses a mini USB, and I could not find one for the life of me. And I need to connect my Yeti. So my daughter, she doesn't use her Leapfrog. I'm like, oh, this is a mini USB. Boom.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey, I don't care if it says Leapfrog on it. It works.
At whatever, weird low data transfer rate that mini USB still works off of.
Hey, it sounds good. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
No one needs to know it's a Leapfrog mini USB cable.
I'm a huge fan of this thing. Hey, Pete, I gotta jump off. I got a 1 o'clock that I gotta get on.
Well, thank you for joining.
Talking with you all. I will. I'll see y'all later.
I'm gonna send you some tasty cakes then.
Yes, please. We can't get them out here. It breaks my heart.
Talk to you later.
What's a tasty cake?
Oh my god,
the tasty cake.
I don't know. I've never heard of one either. Maybe I can't get them here, and I need a shipment. I gotta Google tasty cake.
Ohio, John? Did you guys get?
Yeah, I lived in Ohio. Yeah.
Did you guys get them? I know they don't go too far out west.
Yeah, we don't have them out here.
So they're it's like a Twinkie, but better. So they make chocolate.
I was gonna say Twinkies I don't like
chocolate cake. They make coconut juniors. They make the crimpets, the strawberry filled crimpet. Oh, it's a Pennsylvania-based company, and
it's spelled wrong. It's Kake, not Cake.
Okay, I think I found the site
myself. Like it's bad. It's just really bad. Like, and they do sales 4 for $10. You get 4 boxes for $10.
Can I buy it online?
I'm not sure. You might be able to. I'm not sure. If not, I can send you some next time. I'm gonna send Ben some because it's tasty cakes. It's a Central PA, Pennsylvania thing. It's just they're just so good. If I can eat a box of coconut juniors and a box of crimpets, it's addictive. It's it's better than Twinkies. It's better than Little Debbie's. It's just there's this good. I don't know. It's very addictive. And every time I go to the grocery store, I'm like, oh look at that flavor. But we
don't have these. We don't have these in Wisconsin.
Well, it's just
you're gonna have to help me.
Like sweet Lebanon bologna. Do you guys get that? I know you don't get it in the South because when I lived in Alabama, I had my mom FedEx me Lebanon bologna, which is like smoked bologna, and you can get made sweet as well. I believe it's just I don't even think you can get it in Maryland. It's like a Pennsylvania thing, and
it's only in Pennsylvania.
Oh, it's amazing.
I want some Geta. So, John, if you're close to any store that has Glears, if you could send me some.
What is it?
Glears Geta. Where in Ohio are you? Or are you in Ohio?
Oh no, I'm not in Ohio anymore. I'm in Seattle.
Oh,
He moved towards the mothership.
I lived I lived in Columbus, on the north side of Columbus, for the longest time.
Okay,
So I've lived in Ohio and Florida and Georgia, and now here, and I lived in Ohio most of my life. I miss it. I do miss it every once in a while. I like my view here in the Pacific Northwest better than Ohio, but
most things I don't miss about Ohio, but I do miss some of the food. So I miss Esther Price chocolates. I miss Grater's ice cream.
oh god, Grater's ice cream, Jenny's ice cream,
Amy's ice cream. Yeah. Well, we've actually got Amy's down here in Texas too.
You never took me to that.
What's that?
Is that in Austin?
Yeah, we have an Amy's down here.
Oh, you guys didn't tell me about that.
It's it's out close to the dam. So it's about an hour away from where I am.
That's far. That's yeah. I just stay within. When I go to Austin, I just stay within Austin.
So the steakhouse that we went to, it's like another 20-25 minutes from there.
Okay, that because the steakhouse was kind of far. Like it wasn't far, but it was a decent Uber Lyft drive. But the steak was amazing. Oh my god, the steak was amazing. That steak was amazing.
I missed Donato's.
Dude, I had a fever that week. I remember that. I was very ill. I was very, very ill that weekend or that week. And then I went to visit Seattle, and John, I went for seafood, and I was like, I was at the tail end of the illness that I had in Austin. I could barely breathe with John. I was coughing, but we had a seafood buffet. Or
I knew something was wrong because you didn't finish your steak. So
I had to take it back. Yeah. Well, that's like I had a fever every night after that weekend for like 4 days. And Teresa and I talk about it. I'm like, I wonder if it was COVID because I had the cough for almost 5 weeks. And it was John heard my cough. It was like deathly cough. Like, and I couldn't sleep because I couldn't breathe. I had to actually sit up for at least 3 weeks. Like there was no way I could lay down sleeping because I couldn't breathe. And I went to the infirmary on campus and everything, and they gave me these magic pills. That still didn't help. But after, I'm going to say when I went to London, end of September is when I started feeling better. And that was like a good month and a half before I actually was back to normal. So I don't know. Just throwing it out there, you know. There was some bug.
Yeah. Well, you could always get antibody testing if you really think that, but I don't know. It's so hard to know how long it's really been out there.
It could have just
hearing October.
I was on a Southwest flight, and that's all I gotta say.
I fly Southwest all the time, and I don't get sick like that.
With the rest of us peasants, yeah.
I was sitting with like kids everywhere, and they're like coughing, and then they're like, and I'm just like, I'm gonna get sick. I know I'm gonna get sick. Like there was kids everywhere. There must have been at least 8 babies on that flight. Like
where were you going? Because the only time I've ever had that it's on a plane is to Orlando. Like everyone's gonna go see Disney.
Yeah, Mickey. No, I think this was a special family thing or some party going to Austin because it was.
Yeah, you got a sucky situation there.
It was awful because pretty much that night that I landed, I felt after dinner with Leah, I'm like, I feel kind of weird. Like I was really tired, and I thought it was the heat because it was the hottest weekend in Austin. I'm like, okay, it's just the heat. Yeah. But then the next that Sunday before dinner, I actually I was getting a fever. Like it was like bad. And then when we were recording for Solar Winds, we had to stop several times because of my coughing. Like I was like, okay, I need a break. And you could see where my voice was starting. I was starting to lose my voice. And then by the time I went home, my cough was, I couldn't stop coughing. And it just got worse and worse. And then finally, after Labor Day, mid-September is when I started feeling like normal. Walking pneumonia.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happens. But I don't think
the seafood fixed you though. I think the seafood fixed you.
The seafood made me feel better in spirit. Like I felt happier. Like I didn't feel like depressed. Like I'm sitting in a hotel somewhere. But yeah, that was a year ago.
Next time we'll get the seafood boil for 3.
Oh, Mike knows how the salsa dance.
He does?
He took him and his wife took me dancing. I was like, no.
I was just gonna say, did the wife pull you into that? And then
She's an amazing dancer. Your wife is such a sweetheart.
Well, thank you. Yeah, she loves to dance.
And she's great too.
I'm good
so
at
is that
holding
something
purpose.
you do?
Yes.
Not routine.
Mike is an expert purse holder.
Is he?
Yeah, I'm like, here. I give him my LV. I'm like, here. And I just went, I'm like, I'm going. Here, you just take it. He's like, okay. And at the time, like, I just handed like a very expensive handbag that's just, a friend. But I'm like, yeah, he's just, he's going to hold it. But we went dancing.
That's usually my duty when I go out with friends.
You're the excellent purse holder or the handbag, the bag holder. Yeah, no, that place she took us was amazing. I mean, it was like huge, and it just seemed like this big nightclub place.
Yeah,
for adults. Well, not like old adults, but
for anyone else listening, it was Oasis, the Oasis at the Domain. So, or no, not at the Domain. It was just the Oasis. So.
It was beautiful, and I loved seeing the lake there. It was a good evening after an amazing dinner.
They had a good band.
They really did, and the band was just, I don't know. It wasn't like I don't know. The age group was perfect. Like you didn't feel like you were too old to be there, but too young. It felt there was like a good mix, and there was kids there. Like I really liked it. A lot of places you go sometimes now, you just feel kind of like, am I supposed to be
old?
Here? Yeah, you do. My daughter calls me boomer.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Well, we are literally at like 60 minutes. So that was our water cooler. This was I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. Yeah. I'm glad I joined.
Range of
Thanks
topics.
for having.
And this PC build thing, thank you again, Mike. You were so helpful. And then I do have to have a shout out for Sarah Lean at Tech Lassie on Twitter. She is my teammate, but she is the one that inspired me to build my own PC. So she gets all the credit. Yeah, I watched her video and read her blog. I'm like, you know what? She's doing it. What's preventing me from doing it? So I actually just kind of I've been following along her video blog. So if any of you guys are thinking about it, definitely read it. I mean, she breaks it down to the point where you're not intimidated. Not to say you're intimidating, Mike, but she breaks it down so that the average person feels like they're not intimidated by building a PC. And she keeps you focused on why you're doing it. Because as I'm talking to you and we're looking at all these fancy parts, like, oh, we're going to go with Gen 4 PCIe, NVMe drives. She's like, well, I went with this. I stuck with my motherboard, this because of this. She was very sensible. I mean, she's Scottish, right? And everything was, I mean, she kept, like, her plan kept me focused on, like, this is why I'm building this PC. And here are my requirements. I'm sticking to my requirements rather than, Mike, oh my God, let's get all the lights. Thank you again, Sarah. You are an amazing person. And anyone that is looking for any guidance on it, reach out to her. But also, Mike is amazing at sourcing as well. And just giving general advice on, what's good, what is going to be, long-term effective, things like that. So
are we going to expect a write-up that you're going to do on it, or I'd love to see pictures and
Teresa and I had instead of writing a real blog, we may do an actual stream of a breakdown of the system, and I'll show parts and stuff. Yeah, we'll do something like that just to kind of give people an idea of what parts I picked out, and maybe we'll do a podcast water cooler where we actually break down my system and go, here's why I picked this part, like my drives, NVMe drives. It was because of you. I went with the Gen 4 because of you, Mike, because I'm like, okay, I was going to stick with Gen 3 because after speaking with Leah, I'm like, okay, definitely Gen 3. I knew I wanted to do that. But then when I spoke with you with the Gen 4, and you're like, you know what, you got to utilize, take take advantage of the Gen 4 speeds because your motherboard's already going to be Gen 4 capable. So why not do it? And I actually went with best both worlds, Gen 4 and 3. I figured, why not? If one doesn't work, I can just pull it out.
Your slow storage.
Yeah, my slow storage is Gen 3 and my hot storage is Gen 4. Maybe we'll do that and we'll have you back and we can, talk about the actual parts and go through and actually pick at them and why each was decided upon, like the CPU and whatnot. So
yeah, I think both would be good because we wanted to do the interview format, and then I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I like looking at the colors. I'm sorry, I'm fascinated by the colors. I love the fact you can program the colors. I'm like,
my Gen 3 Samsung gets 3,500 megabytes per second read and 3,200 write. So
that's fast. I mean, that's for the average person, that's more than enough,
faster
right?
than So yeah, Gen 4 is going to just bump it up even more.
Except her Gen 4 gets like 5. So
right.
I'm telling you, it is
the specs that they've said, like it's ridiculous.
The rendering on the videos, I'm gonna tell you, like it's hot. It's like I keep going, wow, yeah. I'm so glad I went with the Gen 4s.
Lightroom is amazing. Exporting those huge pictures.
I love Flash. Like I love fast drives. I mean, when I was running Exchange in my previous life, I ran Exchange on all Flash. Overkill, absolute overkill, right? You don't need it, but yeah, I ran Exchange on pure storage. I had 2 of them, one in each data
My
center.
personal VMs always ran on our pure.
I love that story.
Yeah, you can run on DAS, right? And you can run on spinning disk, but I love Flash.
I can't say much good about Pure because NetApp.
I love it because it went against the preferred architecture
I'm a
for
NetApp
Microsoft.
admin, so I love NetApp too. NetApp from
absolutely.
Give me a filer. I can.
There's a lot of things I like
I
about
really learned.
I hope that doesn't come back and bite me. But
they're all good because I ran Tintry, right? Tintry is like a hybrid sort of Flash, sort of not. I ran Exchange on Tintry.
We used Nimble. We used Nimble for a while at Comcast, and that was we loved it. But
Nimble's good. Like
I think all the storage vendors, they all have their place.
Yes, they do. They do. They all.
And when you put them in when you put the right key into the right hole, things work. Yep. But if you put the wrong thing in, it's gonna be horrible.
So I'm going to say from a storage perspective, if you want simplicity, ease of use, ease of managing, the 2 that always come to mind is NetApp and Pure. I've ran Exchange on both environments. NetApp, I use NFS. Pure, I was RDM, and both just worked, right? They just did. Now with Pure, since it was RDM, performance, I don't want to say it was better, but NFS, I also use the IP base. Now my brain is fuzzy on me. It's Friday afternoon, but I don't want to say there was a slight decrease, but it worked, right? And it worked fast. And I never had an outage. But I do love my Pure Flash. But from an ease of understanding overall storage, NetApp has it's a good step into, because then you can build upon it. And I also love the fact that there's NetApp file shares. So, and a lot of the other vendors don't have that. Where they believe NetApp's the only one that you guys have with us is we actually there's the NetApp file shares. It's a service in the cloud. So but that's that's a whole nother thing.
That's the next water cooler topic.
Yeah. Thank you everyone. Thank you, John, Teresa, Mike, and Ben. And until the next time, peeps, have a great Friday. Bye.